You know what, I might just smash a bottle and use the jagged edges to slash my own fucking throat. My body has undergone horrific changes, I feel strange. I must tear off my face and feed it to the pigs. But, I have a business to run, so I suppose I'll put it off for a few more days. When I do kill myself, it's gonna be horrific. I might walk into the park one day at like 11 o'clock with a knife and there would be like women and children swinging on the swings and slags breastfeeding their children and I'm like, fuck you all, and blow my brains out with a shotgun right next to a man eating a sandwich. My brains splattering the man and the sound of my awesome shotgun would send a wave of immeasurable doom throughout the land. I blew my fucking head off and when I did, every swing in the park stopped dead and then hung slowly in the soft breeze. My headless body next aimed the gun at a man who was reading a newspaper. I aimed carefully with a face that had no head, and fired. I blew his head off. There were horrifying screams next to me and I realized suddenly that there was like 20 people pointing at my headless body with a shotgun. I pointed my gun at all of them and started firing randomly. I couldn't really see what was happening as my weapon was spitting out hundreds of bullets, but then, giant globs of bloody human chunks began to splatter me, and the smell of death and feces was incredibly strong in the air. A few seconds later, I was being pelted with pieces of human flesh covered in shit. Globules of feces. The exploding humans carried on exploding in the distance and I was further showered in liters of bloody stinking vile exploded human debris. I was so covered in blood that I looked like a strawberry. A strawberry covered in fucking shit, that's right. Fuck me, I'm going to the fridge to get a drink, it's been a hard fucking night I tell you now. Months of misery and now I'm here typing this because I've got nothing better to do at fucking 1 a.m. I'm hoping it's funny at the very least. Cheers Ben Knudsen. Thank you Sewer Tapes. Oh no, I feel weird, my asshole is suddenly 50 times the size of my fist. No wait, I'm okay now, it was just the phantom fister. He comes by and fists me sometimes. I get fisted by ghosts. There's not much you can do about a ghost fister. You can train down the gym and read books about survival, but you can't avoid a ghost fisting. They chose my bunghole, because it is the best for the supernatural procedure. I am happy they chose my butthole for I am blessed, and I love the cold dead hands exploring my living walls of brown. Oh yeah you disgusting dead slag. Push your cold expanding fists into my anal hole and don't stop until you reach my mouth. I just remembered, I have something incredible to tell all of you. Listen closely. I've been working on a terrific project which I feel will better my existence and the quality of the air in my house. I store all of my feces in little jam jars. It all started back in 1993. I took a large dump in a jar just for fun and sent it to a random address in the phone book. I've still got the phone book in my attic. Anyway, over the years I've constructed many shelves and sturdy framework in my basement and collected my amazing multitude of daily bowel movements. There were many that did not get collected, but we'll get to those ones later. I left jars of my feces all over town, posted them to exotic locations and even at one point was on holiday in Texas and was able to leave a jar of my feces outside Sewer Tapes mixing studio. My thoughtful anal gifts for everybody. After spending $2,000, I ran out of money from mailing my feces and I also got tired of finding places in town to leave them, so naturally the only place for them was the basement. 25 years worth of feces all dated and timed and labeled accordingly. My chamber of shit. There are many jars of diarrhea that are dated between 1993 till 2002. However, at some point that year I stopped collecting my liquidy dumps and flushed them away because they just aren't fun to look at. And now they are starting to change. There are a few diarrhea samples dated around 1997 that have turned to a kind of orangey-yellow color. It messes up the uniform nature of my army of turds, but I don't really want to open my diarrhea jars from the 90s as I am worried that hideous incurable diseases may be unleashed upon society. Times were bad during the earthquakes of 2002, hundreds of my jars fell from the shelves and the fecal devastation in my basement was awful. Many fine specimens of awesome size and shape were turned to mush. I remember frantically trying to match my broken turds to their broken homes, but it was no fucking use as I lay on the floor and screamed, feeling the glass tearing apart my flesh and introducing years of infectious shit into my bloodstream. We struggled through those dark times and pushed onwards with a smelly determination. We now take no less than 3 shits every day, and my collection is always gaining a new quirk or fashion. For example, yesterday I took a dump that looked like Elvis. I've done entire bands too. I've got feces that look like every member of the Beatles, Coldplay and Limp Bizkit. Maintenance is essential in my basement full of dumps, and I regularly check the labels on all the jars to make sure the writing is still legible. Around the Christmas period I like to play festive music in the basement. I think it makes my turds feel happy. It also is important to whistle whilst doing work in the basement as it gives the turds little memories of the sounds made on their birthdays. The really large ones get special hats. I have to leave now. I got to go find an old jam jar and take a shit inside it.